I was trying to come up with a good pun for this video, but unfortunately, I forgot my bag of tricks. Magic Camp stars Adam DeVine as Andy, a former magician who's asked to be a counselor at a children's summer camp known as the Institute of Magic. There, he crosses paths with his former partner Kristina, played by Gillian Jacobs, who's also a counselor. It's revealed that each cabin will take part in a magic competition, and Andy is assigned to the cabin full of first-time students. So he tries tapping into each of their potential so they can not only win the competition, but also learn something about themselves along the way. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here and you like movies, whether it be blockbusters, hidden gems, or everything in between, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with reviews of new releases and some classics. Today, let's talk about Magic Camp. This was actually filmed in 2017 for a 2018 theatrical release. After being delayed once, it was pulled all together, and it was said back in 2018 it would be a Disney Plus exclusive. Keep in mind, Disney Plus dropped late 2019, and this was not a launch title. This just came out this weekend, so they sat on this for quite a bit. It's directed by Mark Waters, who is also behind Freaky Friday and Mean Girls, and it has, I kid you not, 6 screenwriters. 6. It went through multiple drafts, and all the writers from each draft were credited. The version that was ultimately used was by the screenwriters of A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, but the original draft was written by the team who also wrote Dolittle. So, wow. And it amazes me that with the amount of screenwriters this went through, it seems like none of them could find any real source of inspiration here. This is quite possibly one of the blandest movies I've seen this year so far. This uses almost every possible cliche in the book. Adam DeVine is down on his luck. He's not working in the profession he used to love. There was a big incident that drove him away. He has a bitter rival. Meanwhile, you also have one kid among the group whose talent is incredible. He lost one of his parents, typical Disney. He has one object that deeply reminds him of that parent. The rest of the kids also are quirky and eccentric and all have to learn to work together. Plus, there's a bully who openly torments them, and it's all pretty standard stuff. Parts of the story, to be honest, reminded me of School of Rock in particular. Not the exact same story structure, but Jack Black's character has a talent that he loves and doesn't get to fully tap into, which is music, and he teaches a class full of quirky, eccentric kids who never went out of their way to listen to rock music, and he gets them to work together, tap into their potential, so they can all take part in a competition. The circumstances between the two movies are certainly different, but at times this felt essentially just like School of Rock, but with magic. Now, don't get me wrong, we're long past the point where even the most original movies are going to borrow a little something from somewhere. Even if you have a unique concept, the story structure is going to feel at least a little familiar in some way, shape, or form. The movie industry's been around for over a century now, it's bound to happen. But it's a matter of what you make of those concepts that makes the newer movies stand out. And unfortunately, almost nothing about this stood out to me. Now, don't get me wrong, it's ultimately harmless, its heart is in the right place, it's sweet, captures that tone well, and the performances feel sincere. But for a movie that's supposed to be a comedy, it wasn't very funny, outside of a few mild chuckles here and there, and for a movie about magic, it's not very sensational. When I think of magic, I think of something larger than life, bombastic, grandiose, and I never got that sense from this. I was kind of expecting it to be that way, given the opening credits had this really energetic music and was showing some clips from actual magicians like Penn and Teller and David Blaine, but after that, it immediately goes for something that feels very safe. Now, something I read was that the magic tricks that are performed here were actually done by the actors, no use of special effects or CGI or anything, and they had to go through a month's worth of training with actual magicians to learn the tricks, so there was a sense of authenticity. That was cool, but all these cool moments are mostly towards the end of the movie, and because it's too wrapped up in such a by-the-numbers story that's so predictable at almost every turn, it makes it difficult to maintain interest so we can be wowed in that later portion. So that was disappointing. I will say the one thing I did like in terms of story was the subplot with Gillian Jacobs. Adam DeVine frames her as his rival, and they used to be partners, but they had a falling out, but she's not a villain. In fact, she's really not openly antagonistic to him whatsoever. There's a rivalry, but she's not this cartoonish villain who's out to ruin his life or anything, and it contradicts the image of her that he builds up to everyone else around him, and we wonder why. And as that's explored, we learn there's a little more than meets the eye, so that was at least good. Now, you might be saying to me, well, this is a kid's movie, you're looking into this way too deep. And yeah, like I said, it's harmless. If you have little kids, they may get some enjoyment out of this. I just think there's not much value in hiding behind, well, if you're this age, you'll like it, but once you reach a certain age, it loses any and all meaning to you. Saying something's just a kid's movie isn't an excuse for poor writing. There are plenty of movies, primarily aimed at kids, that age well into adulthood, either because you still connect emotionally with the characters or the story's well told. I mean, movies like The Lion King and Toy Story are aimed at children, but because of the writing, because of the character development and the themes, there's still plenty there in both movies that will allow you to still appreciate them as an adult, while still being enjoyed by new generations of younger audiences. Unfortunately, this movie doesn't have any of that strong writing. Not that I'm saying it could have potentially been the next Lion King or Toy Story, don't get me wrong there, but because it lacks the qualities those other children's films had, it just makes for a dull watch. This is easily one of the weaker movies that hit Disney Plus so far. It's by the numbers and generic, and it isn't all that funny. It doesn't capitalize on a nice concept, and it wastes its talented cast. It's not flat out terrible, like it can be sweet, and its intentions are sincere enough that young kids will enjoy it. But other than that, there's almost nothing here for anyone else, as there's little to connect to. It's extremely forgettable and really not worth checking out. Magic Camp gets a 4.5 out of 10. So let me know, did you see Magic Camp, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you find it funny? Is it something you'd watch with the whole family? And what's one of your favorite movies about magic? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you next time.